Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the JEB and Flow podcast. As you can see, getting real festive in here, which is awesome. Got the street parking Christmas tree with the black and gold ornaments on there. If you're not watching this and you're listening to this, Carrie, one of our members, knitted this beautiful peacock for the tree, which looks great in there. I don't know if the peacock has a name. In my mind, I've decided that it's Pepe the peacock. So that's what I'm going with. But maybe we should have like a naming contest. Beautiful peacock. Thank you, Carrie. So happy to be here and excited to talk about what I'm going to talk about today. And it's something that I think you could spend a lot of time kind of marinating on. So hopefully you'll do a little bit of that this week. And as always, hit me up if you want to discuss these topics further. So in a nutshell, what I want to tell you this week is enjoy the destination. Enjoy the destination. And the reason why I say that, first of all, it's in a song that I really like. And I heard that and I started thinking about that and like what it exactly means. Because we always hear enjoy the journey, right? And enjoy the journey means like, appreciate the struggle, appreciate the path that you're on that's taking you towards something else. And I 100% agree with that. But I also agree that the journey is the destination. The destination has very little meaning if there is no journey, or if the journey to get there is absolutely miserable, then it changes things. So imagine like this, imagine somehow in a weird magical dimension that you woke up and you were on top of a mountain. You woke up, you're on top of a mountain, snowy peak, you're looking around, there's a lot of other like tall mountains around there, but yours is probably the tallest, and it's a beautiful sight. And then you close your eyes and you open them again and you're no longer on the mountain, you're back in your house or whatever. And somebody tells you, that was Mount Everest. You were on top of Mount Everest. The experience of being on top of that mountain compared to you decide that you want to climb Mount Everest and you learn mountaineering and you train and you practice, climbing other peaks that are very high altitude, and you get to know how to read certain maps, and you go through the whole process to prepare yourself for the ascent of Mount Everest. And let's go ahead and add to this that this is like 30 years ago. So when you climb Mount Everest, you and your team are the only people up there. And you climb up and you finally get to the top and you take a look around. And you see the other mountains, you see the exact same scenery from the other scenario, but only this time, the path that took you, the journey that took you up there has changed. The destination is exactly the same, right? It's the journey that has changed. So it's the journey that is actually the destination. Now, these days, apparently, they are changing some things as far as Everest goes. They're making it harder to get the permit to be able to climb it because I looked this up. 800 people summit Mount Everest every year. 800 people doesn't sound like a lot of people, except for the fact that the season when you can actually summit Mount Everest lasts from somewhere in April to somewhere in May. And in that like 45 day window, there's maybe a couple of weeks where the conditions, maybe 10 days total, where the conditions are adequate so that you could actually make that ascent. So last year, like 11 people died on Mount Everest because there was hundreds of climbers that were waiting in line to get up to the top, because you can actually just pay $35,000 to $50,000 and have somebody take you up. So that changes things as well. Like if you're up there and you don't really know how to mountaineer, but you've got some money, you've got enough money that you can just drop 35 to 50 grand on somebody taking you up there to the top. And you get up there and you're surrounded by a lot of other people that did the same thing. How does that change the view? How does that change the experience from the top? Or what if somebody just dropped you off in a helicopter on the top and then picked you up and you just flew away? Again, you're in the same exact spot. You're looking at the same things. All of the conditions are the same except for the means that got you up there. So, the meaning of the goal, the meaning of the destination is 100% determined by the journey. So yeah, maybe in the back of our minds, we know what the destination is ultimately, but the goal, the real destination is the journey. The journey is the destination. And another way that I can kind of prove this to you, maybe it's a little backwards, and not to get super morbid right now, but the ultimate destination for all of us, the only thing that we know for sure that's guaranteed, is death. We're all going to die. That is our final destination. It's what we do between now and that day that really counts. That should be the focus. That should be our destination. What are we going to do with the time that we have right now? So, if you're watching this, it means you have internet. If you're listening to this, you have internet, or you have probably a smartphone or some kind of like cellular network. And if you have that, I'm going to go out on a limb here and I'm going to say that you have pretty much hit the lottery in life. You hold a winning ticket. The cool thing about this type of lottery ticket is that you get to determine the value of the ticket. And the lottery is kind of a funny thing because it's another one of those things where the destination is really determined by the means by which we were brought there. Let me make that make a little bit more sense. So you've heard of maybe you've heard of the curse of the lottery, like people that win the lottery and then all of a sudden just like their life falls apart. And a lot of times people think that like, oh, somebody won the lottery and they just never knew how to manage money, so they spent it all. Well, maybe that's part of it. But maybe the reason why they were playing the lottery had something to do with it, maybe not. But I started looking into it, and there was a couple of interesting things that I came across. You know, I think the reason why, like, you play the lottery because maybe it's kind of fun. You got $1 you can throw away, no big deal. Some people really feel like maybe they're going to win it, and if they get millions of dollars, all of their problems are going to be solved. They're going to be happy. They're going to suffer less. They're going to be able to do all of the things that they want to do, right? So all of a sudden, this millions of dollars holds this meaning. It's a symbol of less suffering and more happiness, more pleasure, less pain. Now, compare that to, let's say, somebody that starts a business, grows the business into a multi-million-dollar business. So that person has created something and worked really hard to grow something, And if it's been successful, maybe there's been a return, right? So let's say that person, millions of dollars by growing a business. Somebody else hits the lottery. Business is worth $20 million. Person wins $20 million in the lottery. That money has very, very different meaning. It represents a very, very different amount of time and energy. That money will be treated very, very differently. Now, there was a story that I read about a guy who had grown a business. He started and grown a business to a $17 million valuation. And then he won a $340 million jackpot in the state lottery. He took that money in the form of a lump sum. So after taxes, he got like around $100 million. He already had a $17 million business. Seemed like life was pretty good. He won the $100 million, and all of a sudden, his business starts getting hit with a bunch of lawsuits. People close to him, get involved in drugs and drinking, and people are dying. And he said that he wished he had just torn up that ticket because he was so unhappy. Because that money didn't mean the same. He said that the money that the $17 million that he had grown out of creating a business was something totally different, totally separate from the $100 million that he had won in the lottery. And when that other thing, which has less meaning, but maybe has the perception of a greater meaning, well, it attracts a certain parasitic quality, right? It attracts other people that think that they want to get a piece of that because it's going to solve all of their problems, and they don't want to have to create or grow anything to be able to get it, right? Easy money. If I just get this, it's going to solve all my problems. And then you get surrounded by a culture of that, of a bunch of people like that, and really, really bad things happen. So I'm going way off topic right now, but I thought it was a really interesting story that it's not just some guy that plays the lottery and doesn't really have any money and know what to do with money and then wins and then blows it all. That certainly happens, and there's plenty of people that have won the lottery and are probably living very happily. But there is this thing called the curse of the lottery. And if we were to take that down to just back to my statement of you are sitting and holding a winning lottery ticket right now, just being who you are, where you are, if you're alive in 2019 and you're able to access the internet, guess what? You can access pretty much every piece of information that is available to every other person on this planet. That's a lot of information. That is a lot of power. You can do a lot with that. How you use that ticket is up to you. Now, there will be certain social vultures and parasitic type people that want to steal your time and your energy and distract you from your journey. And you can allow that or you cannot. And if you treat your journey as the destination, I promise you, you will not allow that. I promise you, you will hold this moment and this day and whatever it is that you have on your plate, you will hold that so dearly that you're not going to let anyone else take you away from it. So let me just backtrack real quick. When it comes to, let's see, how do I want to say this? Let's say that you've got some kind of goal. Like we all have something that we're working on, especially if you're watching this right now. Maybe it's like, hey, I want to lose 10 pounds by the end of this year. Or like maybe you're like one of the resolutioners that's starting in January, I'm going to lose 10 pounds. Or I want to get my squat up to 315 by a certain date. You know, we all know that goals are supposed to be measurable and specific and time-based. You know, we all know that. The problem is that the goal is the destination. The goal is that thing out there that we're now focusing on rather than focusing on what we need to be doing right now, which is the journey, which is the actual destination. Make the journey your destination. So if I want to lose 10 pounds, well, I've got to eat clean and I've got to exercise, especially eat clean. So today, what am I going to do? I'm going to eat the right foods. I'm going to eat quality foods. Now that's just doing it. That's the destination, right, for the day. Eat the quality foods. Is there a way that we can enjoy that? Enjoy the way that it feels when you finish? Like if you eat healthy food after that meal, you feel good. If you crush a pizza after that meal, I don't like myself. Not because of, what I did or out of shame or anything like that. I just literally don't like what I have voluntarily done to myself. I have chosen to make myself feel horrible for some small little bit of enjoyment, maybe in like the first, honestly, it's like the first half of a slice. So, if it's like your squat, you're trying to like improve your squat. Well, I don't know where you're at right now, but if you're trying to get up to something heavier, you got to squat heavy. And you can't just squat heavy next week. You got to squat heavy right now. And that's what the destination is. Squat heavy. How can you enjoy that? How can you pay attention more to the feeling, the sensation of all those muscles firing in your legs when you're completing those 2-3 reps? The feeling of that spike in your heart rate as soon as you re-rack the bar. Like that's an awesome feeling. And it's real easy to ignore that feeling. But if you pay attention to that feeling and you really take some enjoyment in that sensation, that is enjoying the destination. And it doesn't have to be fitness related. I think personal relationships is huge. If you are trying to improve a personal relationship with like a loved one or something, it's so easy to get distracted by everything else, by all these other things. And there's tons of little time sucks that are going to pull you away from that person, that loved one, that on some level maybe we're taking for granted a little bit, right? We assume that they're just always going to be there. But the relationship needs work. So it always needs work. And if you can, so that's the goal, right? Improve the personal relationship. Well, what can I do right now? Maybe we enjoy a meal together where we put the phones away. We're not looking at anything except for each other. And my only goal, my only job is to listen. My only job is to listen and to hear what that person's trying to say. That's the destination. Next part is I got to enjoy that. How can I enjoy? Well, if you're with a person that you like, that you care about, chances are you like them because you enjoy what they have to say. So enjoy what it is that person has to say. Pay attention, listen, and have fun with it. So, those are just some specific examples, but this week, that was the action item, right? That's my challenge for you, is to get out there to enjoy the destination. So to find meaning in the little things that are going to take you towards the big things, So think about what is the destination? What is the process, that you are applying to get there? Realize that process is the journey. The journey is the destination. And enjoy the destination. Have a great week. Love you guys. Talk to you later.